Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our food fight. My name is Rasha Abu. I'm the Sustainability Program Coordinator here at eMERGE Guelph. I would like to thank you for coming tonight to our event, and special thanks to our sponsors, Downtown Guelph and 10C, for all of their efforts to make this food fight live. I guess we all are so excited to get started, but first, I want to begin with our original land acknowledgement. I just want to acknowledge, as we gather here, we are reminded that Guelph is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. As a community, we have a responsibility for the stewardship of the land on which we live and work, and the responsibility to foster reconciliation and respect for Indigenous people who have been stewards and caretakers for this land for generations. Today, we acknowledge the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation of the Anishinaabe peoples on those traditional territory we are meeting today. And we encourage folks to continue educating themselves on all current issues facing First Nation communities and people across Ontario and Canada, and to learn how to take action to uplift and support Indigenous people from coast, coast. Thank you all. Now I will hand the mic to Evan Ferrari, our Executive Director, to give his eMERGE intro and update us about our upcoming events. Over to you, Evan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasha, and welcome everyone. This should be a heck of a lot of fun tonight. Of course, we've got to start with just some housekeeping stuff, and just a quick thing for some of you that aren't aware of eMERGE. What we do is we fight climate change on a daily basis, and how we fight it is we focus on attaining 100% renewable energy in Guelph, hopefully well before the year 2050. And I want to let you know that well, let's see. There we go. We've got something that you're going to be able to do, because we're assuming that, well, I don't want to be a downer tonight, but I want to provide you with just a little snippet of something that we're involved with right now, and an opportunity for perhaps for you to get involved with if you're interested in climate change. And that is that the province is looking at increasing the amount of pollution from gas-fired electricity by 300%. And we have joined with 10 other local or environmental organizations to ask the city of Guelph to ask the province to work towards a gas phase out. Believe it or not, there's actually a motion going to council on Monday night. And that motion is in the process of working its way through City Hall. And obviously, if we can let our councillors know that this is an important thing, it would be valuable from a climate change perspective. The motion that's before City Council that two councillors have put forward has two parts to it. First, it talks about megatons of greenhouse gases. Sounds a little boring, but look at the second piece. That we develop a plan in Ontario to phase out all gas-fired electricity generation by 2030, so that Ontario can meet its climate changes, and so that we in Guelph can meet our climate changes. So far, 10 municipalities across the province have already There we go. So 10 communities in Ontario have already done this, including the likes of St. Catharines, Hamilton, and Windsor, and there are more happening every day. Monday, December 14th, if you're interested further in this issue, we suggest you go to our website, and on the scrolling banner right up front, you'll be able to see the thing on the gas plants. I'm not going into any more detail about this because we're here to have fun tonight, but please go there, and the page that you'll land at will give you an awful lot of other information and help you with how you can submit your comments to City Council. So let's change gears. It's always good to start with dessert. Haven't we all either thought of or had like breakfast pie or breakfast cake? Breakfast candy, maybe? Well, we want to start with dessert for a very special reason. Yes, this is a fight between 3 downtown cooks in 3 downtown restaurants that you're all familiar with. But what you're going to find out in the next few minutes, you're going to learn who our celebrity taste testers were. But we played a bit of a, I don't know, Kim, should we call it a trick on them? We gave them dessert, but we told them that they weren't allowed to give their comments about what they thought of the dessert until they ate the dessert. Then they opened the paper and they found out inside, believe it or not, the dessert inside was made with food that was destined for landfill. It was past its best before date. And Kim England at 10C, who's working on a project called Nourish, she's going to chat with you for the next few minutes and tell you about for a couple of minutes, very short minutes, to tell you about the exciting thing that they provided to our taste testers. And we'll hear what the taste testers had to say about it in a minute. Over to you, Kim.
All right, thanks, Evan. Hi, I'm Kim. I'm the community food lead here in the Nourish Kitchen in the 10C building. So the food wasn't past its best before date, really, but it was upcycled spent grain from the Fixed Gear brewery that they're providing us with, kind of unlimited amounts for right now. So I put that in the crust, and then it was a pumpkin mousse with a spent grain crust, and the pumpkin from the pumpkin mousse was one we didn't get to carving at Halloween. So it was a big pumpkin, and I'd never cooked with one of those before, but it was delicious. It was sweet and fine, and I thought you had to cook with the little ones. It's just not true. Yeah, and I saved the seeds from the pumpkin and candied those, and hope to make something delicious. 2/3 of it would have gone to waste, 2/3 of the ingredients that were in that dessert. So we try to upcycle food as much as we can here. Back to you, Evan.
Great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. And you notice that Kim is still wearing that same shirt. Like, I mean, and I just love it. Imagine that, a tie-dye chef's shirt. And yes, I'm all red-faced, Kim. I did say that it's past its best before date, and it wasn't. They don't use food that could harm people, or at least that's what we told the celebrity taste testers. So here's our unveiling of our celebrity taste testers. And I'll tell you a little bit about this end of it that was quite exciting too. The celebrity taste testers, who you'll meet in moments, received food from all 3 of the Food Fighters restaurants. They received that food delivered to them by takeout by 2 electric vehicles. In one case, it was an electric car, and in the other 2 cases, in 2 cases, it was an electric car, and the other one was an electric bicycle delivery service from downtown Guelph that's just kicking off to try to help the downtown merchants provide more delivery service and get their products out there in the middle of a pandemic, needless to say. And our celebrity taste testers, believe it or not, are representatives from all 3 levels of government. We have Mike Salisbury, City Councillor from Ward 4, Lloyd Longfield, MP for Guelph, and Mike Schreiner, MPP for Guelph. And I want to say, so that they received all 3 of those, and what we asked them to do was to send us a short video of what they thought of it all. So we're going to kick that off with a video from Mike Salisbury, who's the only one that allowed his partner into the video, shall we say. Take it away, Rasha.
So really, then what you're saying is that doing this is not following the instructions.
Right. After the bite of this, I'm not getting a whole lot of flavor.
A sandwich here. The complexity. I can't tell you more about it. It's too complex. Indeed. See, we should have started with this, right? Because, you know, the old saying, life is short, start with dessert. Now, so we've tried all 3, and we've sampled the dessert, which allowed us to open up the letter and find out the secret that the dessert is made from 2/3 of the ingredients that were slated to become waste And to answer your question, no, it does not change how I feel about the dessert, because dessert is a sacred thing. If you're like me and you like your dessert, that's not a problem. No, that was great. As far as which one we liked, it came down, the final two contestants that came down were the soup, which was particularly spicy and yummy, had a nice heat to it. I like the thin noodles. Lee's liked that one perhaps the best. What I really like, I think, the most about this, so the texture is good, the taste is really well balanced, the bread is incredible. I'm gonna have to give it to the Reuben. I hope we haven't made enemies of anyone, because all of it was really, really good.
Thank you, by the way. This is really yummy. But because I had the spicy soup first, I liked, it made the pasta taste bland. So it's too bad we didn't know. I might have had pasta first had I realized that. I think the flavor, the really bold flavor of the soup got in the way of the pasta, which isn't fair to the pasta. The Reuben's great. I never would have ordered a vegan Reuben. It's yummy, it's delicious. I loved the avocado, I love the texture, it's really great. And I'm not as big a dessert fan as Mike is, but I really liked this one. I especially like there's something salty in there, and the sugary or the candied, I'm gonna guess pumpkin seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Yummy.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, that's our first one. Thank you, Mike Salisbury. And Rush is just getting our second one loaded. Lloyd.
And Cornerstone for an amazing supper. Everything was so tasty. The one that surprised me the most, and therefore was my favorite, was the romance type soup. It was really spicy and lots of flavor. I started sweating, and that's always a good thing. The sandwich, close second. It was surprising too. Really flavorful. Everything. Pasta, absolutely. You could tell it was all local stuff at the table here. And some Guelph tap water. And yeah, that dessert was interesting. I'm not a big dessert person in the best of times, but interesting that you're repurposing some food there. Wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest, but back to that soup, I would have that on a nice cold winter day after a walk outside. We got a winner there.
Well, and Lloyd is actually on this call for a brief period of time, and just before he jumps off, I want to thank him. And here we go to our last one. This is Mike Schreiner.
I thought eMERGE did a fantastic job delivering 3 pretty good dishes for dinner the other night. Though for me, without a doubt, the sandwich and potato combination was by far the best. And everyone in our family agreed. The creaminess of the avocado combined with the salty vinegar flavor of the sauerkraut and the tofu was really good. The spicing on the potatoes was fantastic. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't normally go for the greasier sandwich kind of dish because it puts me to sleep. And I will say I did sleep well. I thought the soup was good, but a little too spicy for my taste. Though my daughter told me I was a complete wimp for saying that. She thought it was delicious and that I just got to handle a bit more spice in my life. The whole family, my wife, my daughter, and I all thought that the mac and cheese left a little something to be desired. I don't know if it's because vegan cheeses just don't quite add up or what, but I thought it needed a bit more flavor, though I did enjoy the broccoli that came with it. I'm a big broccoli fan. Dessert was delicious. I love pumpkin-based desserts, especially this time of year, and I even liked it more after opening the note and learning that it was food that was best, past its best before date and had been reclaimed and made into such a delicious dish. Though I will admit that I have a notorious reputation from when I was running my local food business of taking food that was past its best before date or maybe well on its way to a compost bin and using it to make dinners. As a matter of fact, when people would come over to our house for dinner, they would always ask me, is there anything in here that's past its best before date? Because we just want to know before we have dinner with you, Mike. So I was the only one in the family who thought that dinner tasted even better, knowing that it was food that had been saved from the compost bin.
Well, I will have to just repeat one more time. I saw Kim biting her lip like crazy there, the number of times that Mike Schreiner made reference to food that was past its best before date. So if any of you are going to Mike Schreiner's for dinner, well, I guess no one's going there anytime soon in COVID, but needless to say, Kim would probably have second thoughts about it. Again, I want to thank Mike Salisbury, Lloyd Longfield, and Mike Schreiner for being really good sports and suffering through the fact that they had to have 3 dinners on that night. And they obliged us wonderfully with those videos. I won't speak for their movie making abilities in any way, shape, or form. You know, maybe someone might think that from a cinema verite, that maybe someone might be interested in doing it, using it in documentary work, but I don't think so. In any case, thanks again to our celebrity taste testers. And on that note, we want to move to the main event, ladies and gentlemen. The main event for the night, that's the food fight. But every single fight, any fight in downtown Guelph, needs a referee. And none other than Marty Williams, Executive Director of Downtown Guelph, is our referee for tonight. And you know that, yes, Dewey, we see your button that says, I love downtown. Oh gosh, Marty, you're gonna have to really keep Dewey in check here. But Marty is definitely a pretty tough guy. Here he is in November, and can you tell he's wearing his poppy. Here he is in November, and he's actually wearing shorts downtown outside of his office with one heck of a mean look on his face. He's going to be introducing our food fighters, and he's going to keep things in check. And Rasha and I are I don't know, I guess we're the police officers. If the referee tells us indeed that we need to mute someone because they've gone too far, yes, that means you, Dewey. You'll be muted, and if the referee still doesn't like what you're up to, he might even ask us to turn your videos off. So there is punishment, and that's the penalty box. So on that note, I'm going to pass this over to Marty. And Marty, if you want.
When you muted yourself, but that's good. I've been trying to do that to you for years. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you to eMERGE. Thank you to Evan and Rasha for arranging this whole thing. This is a little bit of fun tonight. Talking about some serious issues, but let's have some fun with it. I think you've already accomplished, even at the 21-minute mark of the event tonight, something we haven't seen in a long time. That's 3 politicians actually telling the unvarnished truth about how they feel about something. We could stop here and we'd already accomplished something. So that's fantastic. They're all great people and great sports for doing that. But really going out on a limb and saying they liked something and they didn't like something else as much. Not everybody's all the same or everything's all the same. Wow, that was refreshing. That was great. So again, thank you. And let me start by saying that we're going to have a few categories for the food fighters to comment on, to talk about, and we have already agreed that within the limits of decorum and good taste, we'll mix it up a little bit. We won't be shy about tooting our own horns or saying what we really feel, just like the politicians did. So we can do this. We can do this well. So, in the order that they have been determined by a completely random coin toss.
I think it's age before beauty, he said, right? Yeah.
I think they said, don't interrupt me again, Dewey, or we're turning you off. That was 30 seconds. So we have Dewey from the Sip Club, Nevada from Cadence, and Sydney from the Cornerstone. And I am going to hold you to your time limit. Evan and Rasha will be looking at the time clock, and you know how this works. We're going to call on you to give your opening remarks, and we will do it in that order. You will also be entitled to a couple of wild cards if you want to rebut anything that somebody else has said. And you have 2 of those, so use them judiciously. That's right, judiciously. I'll give you a minute to look that up, Dewey. Use those judiciously,
Flag on the play.
and we won't get into any trouble. So, with no further ado, here is Dewey with 90 seconds for his opening remarks in the food fight.
Now I'm not I'm not interrupting anymore. Okay. You know, first off, I just want to say I really thank you for including us. If to be honest, if you ever told me I'd be part of a vegan debate in the least before, I'd tell you you're insane. But I mean, at the same time, we are part of such a changing and amazing culture that if anything, I'm not a vegan myself, but I'm also not a Leafs fan or a Scientologist. But I should say we accept everyone here at Sip Club, and what I am a big fan of is phenomenal food and phenomenal experience. And I love downtown Guelph. I love the community that we've built here, and I will fight for that no matter what, whether it be a food fight, whether it be a city council fight, whether it be a downtown board fight. I love our city, and I love food, and I love living life, and maybe I just love the sound of my own voice as well. I've got 15 seconds left, apparently. And hey, I love just being nominated in this category.
Thank you very much, Dewey. Nevada, let's hear from you.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I just had to remember how to unmute myself here. As representative from Cadence today, I'd like to say that we are very happy to be included in this as well. And it definitely is a really great event. And thank you so much for Evan and Rasha for putting it on. But I'm not surprised that we were included, of course, being one of the only completely vegan restaurants in Guelph. And we are just really happy to have been able to try everything today. And I guess I don't have too much else to start off with because I'd like to save it for some of the questions moving on. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Nevada. Sydney, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sydney, representing the Cornerstone and the Tempeh Reuben. We're really happy to be a part of this event, so thanks, of course, Evan and Rasha. It's such an awesome way to talk about climate change and veganism without being too heavy or big downers at all. So really glad to be here, and I am definitely ready to kick some butt.
Yeah, no downers, nothing but uppers here tonight, Sydney.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna break the rules that I've been told I have to live by, just because I'm like that. You know, you work in this environment, you just can. It's more fun to be a pirate than to be in the Navy. So I am going to call on people in a different order than we started with for each additional question. So the next question, why did you choose the dish that you're highlighting tonight? And I'm going to go to Nevada first.
Thank you very much, Marty. Well, as you guys might have put together by now, Cadence, we put forward the mac and cheese, as you'll be able to see behind me here. And it did get maybe the least amount of comments overall from our celebrity judges, but we decided to put the mac and cheese forward because we think it is an undeniable universal comfort food. We think that a lot of people who are considering going vegan definitely are very concerned about the cheese aspect of it. And we also believe that we just know that it's one of our guests' favorite dishes. And every time we take it off the menu, it is immediately asked to get put back on. And that is all I have to say about that one.
Well, I have to say, Nevada, that looks great. Maybe I haven't eaten dinner tonight, but that looks.
We can all get a good view of that one. This is one of our dishes.
even though that broccoli is coming out of your ear, that still looks great. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. Sydney, tell us why you chose the dish that you chose.
All right, so like I said, I'm representing the tempeh Reuben from the Cornerstone. So we chose it because it's just a staple of the Cornerstone, and honestly a staple of the downtown Guelph food scene. Everybody loves it, whether you get it completely vegan or you add cheddar, as Mark likes to push people to do. And as well, it's a spin on a classic meat-heavy, greasy dish. So we figured that it would be the perfect thing for this event because usually, you know, it's full of meat and all of that stuff. But we've totally veganized it and made it a beautiful vegan sandwich.
It sounds great too. Evan, you should have fed me. You should have sent me a vegan pizza before this. We're gonna have to talk about this, pal. Thank you so much, Sydney. Dewey, tell us about why you chose the dish you did. You're on mute, pal. You're still on mute. There you go.
I'm sure everyone would love to have that option for me.
In real life, if that works.
That's right.
Oh.
Little, yeah. Well, we chose the hot and sour soup for many reasons. I mean, first off, it is a phenomenal dish for this season, and I do have to question the judge that found it so incredibly spicy. It's not called the hot and spicy and sour soup, but the hotness is great. It's a phenomenal dish that people order all the time at Sip Club who are not vegans. And to be honest, that was part of the thing going forward when taking over the kitchen and taking over this restaurant with Hillary. We wanted dishes that everyone could eat, vegan or not, just having them be delicious. That's all it was. And this is not a dish that just tries to emulate something else. It just happens to be a vegan dish. It's a phenomenal dish on its own, and I swear to you, cure all. Maybe not COVID, but cures hangovers. That's for sure.
Well, thank you for that. So next, now we've heard about these three dishes. What sets yours apart? What makes yours special? And I would encourage anybody to say, in a very polite and good-natured way, if you want to get your elbows up a little bit to reference Gordie Howe, who you're all too young to remember, that's fine too. But let's go to Sydney from the Cornerstone for the first on what sets your dish apart. We could even call that what makes it better than the other ones.
All right, so before I get started on that, I just want to throw back to what Dewey was just saying. I want to say, screw that. I love dishes that try to emulate non-vegan things that are vegan. As a longtime vegan, I think that rocks. So, screw that. But nice. What sets my dish apart? So, there's just so much going on in the tempeh Reuben sandwich. I think one of our celebrity taste testers touched on that. It's tangy, it's pickly, it's vinegary. It's creamy with the avocado and the sauce, and it's just a good, warm, greasy sandwich. You cannot go wrong with that. Again, a spin on a very not vegan dish. So, I think we've got the up and up on that one. There's the crispy, crunchy bread, tempeh in there. Neither of the other dishes have tempeh, and that is just a beautiful meat substitute. And it's just something a little different, not just boring mac and cheese.
So let's even do this, Sydney. So tell me how you're going to improve the other two dishes that have fallen short of your masterpiece.
How I can improve them? Well, I think the soup should just not be a soup. I think soup can always be better, honestly. Who really likes soup? So that's all I kind of have to say about that one.
Who likes
the mac
soup?
and cheese? Who likes soup? Not me.
Yeah.
the mac and cheese, you know, I think adding some delicious tempeh with a little bit extra flavor in there would be really nice. Like maybe
Wow.
even our house-made marinated tempeh.
I believe the gauntlet has been thrown down, ladies and gentlemen, and all others. So Dewey, up to you now. What sets your dish apart, and what are you going to do to improve the others? You're still on mute.
How about now?
Now
Can you hear
go.
me now?
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, I mean that's you know, Sydney, congratulations on thinking it's very creative to take. But first off, what makes it a Reuben sandwich? So a Reuben sandwich is is corned beef, smoked meat, sauerkraut, Thousand Island dressing or Russian dressing, bread, and Swiss cheese, which you have nearly none of. Why? You might as well call
sauerkraut,
it. You might as well call
homemade
it
Reuben
a chicken
sauce,
parmesan
and tempeh instead of the meat. Sauerkraut, homemade Reuben sauce, and tempeh.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, totally. A Reuben sandwich might as well be a club sandwich for sure.
Hey, we have a really good club sandwich too.
No, listen, and I have to say, and you know what, just while we're throwing dukes here, and mac and cheese. Well, there's no cheese or even macaroni. Like, why do you even call it that?
Okay, but Dewey, what makes yours good? Let's talk about.
All right. No, I apologize. You're right. So what makes mine good? It's not lying. That's for starters. It's a phenomenal dish that uses all local fresh ingredients. That's for starters. The only thing possibly that we couldn't use, I guess we could even make it better for that politician and take out the spice, because the peppers are the only things that weren't sourced very, very locally. We use green bicycle farms, other places really local to get all of our produce that is chopped fresh and made fresh to order. That's it.
Yeah.
Not a Reuben sandwich or mac and cheese fusilli.
Okay, so the gloves are off now. We see what we're
She
made
started
of.
it.
We see what we're made of here. Nevada, yeah, tell us what's.
Yeah, I see that everybody's ready to be a little feisty now. And I just like to start off, I guess, with saying that I think that our mac and cheese is the best. I think we may have gone a slightly different direction with it because we were thinking about what is the best overall dish. I can understand how maybe the hot and sour soup is it's good. It has good flavor and it's exciting to try, and the same with the sandwich. But I think our mac and cheese can just take it all the way. I think anyone could like it. I think to Sydney's point, you could, and we have added marinated tempeh to it, and it's delicious. And we just think, yes. And, you know, there's a lot of different, it's also a very versatile dish where we do use fusilli because that is what holds the sauce the best, but you could take this recipe and make it with macaroni if you like. You can take this recipe and make it with any alternative milk that you wanted, and you can add anything to it. But I do also agree with the fact that, or I guess I would say that I think it's actually a bit of a downside to the soup that it just happens to be vegan, because it doesn't really push the boundaries the same way, and it's not as exciting. And I think people could lots of times accidentally make things vegan at home. And I just don't think that's as interesting.
Well, thank you, Nevada. I was going to ask you to get a little feisty there, but you made it through at the end. You said nice things about the other two dishes, but then at the end you got a jab in. That was good. I like that. I like your style on that one. I also have to say, just a small word for the broccoli lovers amongst us. Every time I look at the background behind you there, I go, oh yeah, that's what I need to put into mac and cheese. I need to put more broccoli. I love broccoli. I would eat broccoli over chocolate. It's fantastic. Any dish that's got broccoli in it is okay by me. But I'm not voting, so who cares what I have to say? Okay, so we're going to start off now with One, two, three. Now, I believe, Dewey, you have the first kick at the can on this one. What environmental issues set your dish apart from the others?
I'm good. Yes.
Yeah.
A couple of things, I suppose. Just using local produce for starters is phenomenal. I think any soy-based, like the tempeh, soy is not fantastic for the environment, to be honest. So like, there's a huge
Rebuttal.
amount of all right.
Can I take your rebuttal?
Sure.
Spin that card for sure.
I think about
hang on
80% of the soy
second,
grown in the
Dewey.
world. Oh, sorry.
No, Dewey, hang on a second. So we've got a little rebuttal here from Sydney. Go ahead, Sydney.
Rebuttal.
No, I understand.
Don't quote me on the exact number, but I think about 80% of the soy in the world is actually grown to feed farmed animals. So, we're doing like half as bad of a thing by eating the soy ourselves.
So then increasing that just makes it okay, or
that's not what I said.
Okay, point has been landed. Sydney, you took one of your wild cards. Dewey, back to you.
Environmentally, I mean, it is a great, it is a good thing to try to get away from the mass production, the huge, the cow apocalypse and things like that. I do agree with that for many vegans. I think I'm not actually here trying to fight for people being vegans, to be honest. I think that people eating food that's sustainable, people eating animals raised in the proper fashion, that's fine. I'm going to be honest, I'm fine with all of that. What separates our dish is it is all local and it isn't processed, as in environmentally and health wise. It's the best for you here in the options. I still have 30 seconds, so I guess you weren't counting that offside, that flag thrown. That's great. So I just wanted to tell you, environmentally, we've got some great music, live music coming at Sip Club, which you know what is helps the digestive system and helps the environment in total. Our social environment, if you will. So if you come here and order the hot and sour soup, you can see on Thursday night Mike Todd play here. You can see on Friday night Lucas Stagg play, and then we're having the Shane Phillips full band play, and totally safely spaced everything, and nothing tastes better than a spicy Shane Phillips than the hot and spicy sour soup.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree that all those musicians are completely 100% organic. They are. So Nevada, over to you. Tell us what environmental issues set your dish apart from the others and why the others are actually toxic wastelands.
Well, it's hard to say exactly because I guess none of us can say for sure what the location of our ingredient sources are. But I would say that eating at Cadence, especially where this dish is from, is beneficial because we're actually entirely vegan, and unlike unlike some of our other competitors here, we actually would not be contributing at all to any of the issues surrounding the production of dairy or the production of meat. And we try to keep most of our stuff local, but as far as specifics, you would not be concerned about any of the large impact that the dairy industry has that you would with a regular mac and cheese.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and Yarmouth Street, what a great spot. Lovely little spot at the top of Yarmouth at Woolwich. If you haven't been yet, you got to go. So Sydney, you're next. What makes your dish the best for the environment, and why are you crushing the other two?
Okay, so I've got a few points to make here. So we make almost all of the ingredients ourselves that go into the tempeh Reuben. So for example, we make the Reuben sauce ourselves, and what we don't make, we source locally. So Henry's Tempeh or Grain Harvest bread, they're in Kitchener-Waterloo. So because of that, there's less plastic waste, say from buying a jar of sauce from the store.
Okay,
Rebuttal.
Billy,
Okay.
yeah, just chime in.
I just think it's harmful for the environment to continue to call it a Reuben sandwich.
Oh shit!
That's all.
Get out of here!
Well said.
Somebody mute him.
Well said, Sydney. You're right.
What a waste of a rebuttal.
I just think it's just continuing to for the political environment, just continuing on this, falsehoods, is not proper.
That's what we're all concerned about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyways, I'll get back to it. So what I was saying, instead of buying a jar of Reuben sauce or multiple jars of Reuben sauce in jars wrapped in plastic in a box or something, we make it ourselves. And also, we use ingredients that we already have to make these, to make the sauce, for example. So pickles go into the sauce. We already use pickles. They're on the sandwich. We don't have to go buy a whole bunch of extra stuff. That's pretty great. And as well, just with most of the stuff being local, I guess we're all kind of on an even playing ground with this one. But of course, there's less travel time and distance for those ingredients. So, the bread comes from like 30 minutes away. It's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
And thank you to Andrea in the chat who says, Reubens are a social construct, Dewey. They're a social construct. It's a performative act of sandwich making. It's nothing, you have to be a little bit more open-minded, my friend, to these sorts of things. If a Reuben wants to be a Reuben who doesn't look like the kind of Reuben you think a Reuben
if a rose isn't a rose, I get it, Marty, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think we need to send.
What makes a Reuben
send
then?
you to a sensitivity seminar around nomenclature. Thanks.
Oh, we don't have time enough in this debate.
I think I'm right too that Nevada, you're the first up. I'm trying to keep this in order and I'm circling through this, and pardon me if I haven't given anybody the first kick of the can. But we'll start with Nevada on this round, and it's our final question, and probably the most cantankerous of all the questions that we've heard so far. And let's be honest here. Let's remember our politicians who had the strength to stand up and say, I like this one, I don't like this one so much. Whose dish do you hate the most and why? You got to pick one that you'd say, look, mine's good. The other one's not so bad, but the third one, yeah, I wouldn't do it. So Nevada, you're first up.
So this is a difficult question. And maybe I don't know if I should start off by saying I don't want to say hate, but maybe I want to say the least memorable dish or the least interesting dish to me is the hot and sour soup. And I would say undeniably, it's something that I have had plenty of times before. It's not very interesting. I didn't find that Sip Clubs was any better, and I could say that I wouldn't know for sure if any of the other ones I had were vegan or not before. Whereas with the sandwich from Cornerstone, it has a little more depth of flavor, a little more complexity, and it's a little more interesting. But again, I think a lot of us could go home and make a vegan sandwich pretty easily. And I think if we were looking for those types of flavors, we would already know where to find them. Whereas with the mac and cheese, I don't know if everybody would know exactly how to work this out or exactly what was in the mac and cheese to make it this good.
Thank you very much. And take your point on the word hate. We're not haters here. We're people that just have, ranked preferences for food choices. And so if you don't like the word hate, we can go to, which of yours, after yours, what comes second and what comes third. Maybe that's a better way of thinking about it. And thank you for the point, Nevada. So we'll go to Sydney on the next one. After yours, of course, which is the best, which comes second, which comes third?
Yes, so obviously ours is the best. Second, Cadence, mac and cheese. Nevada, I've been thinking that you and I should team up and take Dewey down. That's just an idea I've had in my head tonight. I know that I'm fighting against you and Cadence, but I love the mac and cheese. I have for a long time, so I've been trying to keep that down, but it's a really good one. Sip Club, your soup, I'm sorry, not for me. Not for me. Like I said before, who likes soup? Nobody, really. So it's just not that fun.
I think T-shirts should be made. You should tell them, Sydney, nobody likes soup. Like
Nobody likes soup.
You go into a grocery store and you can't even find it anymore. There's no soup.
Yeah, exactly.
Soup is it's gone out. It's with Gordie Howe. It's like it's somebody's grandparents' generation. Nobody eats soup.
Yeah, no, and if you do eat
suddenly,
it, you have to
Dewey,
be in a very specific.
I'm sorry. I'm going to throw my other flag, and this is against Marty. I'm sorry. Maybe you can't find soup because everyone's bought it all. You don't say you can't find toilet paper at the grocery store because it's gone out of fashion. No, that's because it's just so popular and it's out. It's out because everyone's bought it because it's.
Yeah, I was being ironic.
May I say something here?
I was being ironic about
sure.
Go ahead, Nevada.
Just on the same note, I'd like to say that there's a humongous amount, and there has been for a long time, availability of boxed mac and cheese in general. And I don't think we'll be seeing that run out anytime soon, even if there was a high demand for it, which there is.
And to be fair, I don't think actual Kraft Dinner has any cheese products, in it anyway. So, I mean, maybe that's
true. To your point, Dewey, about things being fake, it probably doesn't have much cheese.
But they don't call it mac and cheese. They call it Kraft Dinner.
People love Kraft
Dinner. So that's the difference.
Okay, fine.
Dewey's all about the nomenclature. It's got to be.
I think there is something to be said about that. You let me know when it's my turn.
This is a man who on my sheet here has no last name. He has no last name. He's simply Dewey.
Right.
Which
it's like Cher, Madonna, or Sting.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. He is the Cher of downtown Guelph.
Exactly.
And he looks great in stilettos. You should just see him.
That is actually not untrue. How's that?
I don't know how many positives to negatives that is, Dewey.
Yeah.
You have the last.
I used to dress in drag for every Pride Week when I used to host sex and booze trivia and bingo. So maybe it is a stretch. You say I looked great in stilettos, but it's happened. How's that?
I wondered why I recognized you. Now you seem familiar.
Right. Exactly.
So you have the last kick at the can on this question. You're obviously, you believe your dish is the best, but who comes second and who's winning the bronze?
Well, I'll tell you this. First off, I'd like to thank Nevada for saying that. I thought that definitely the question of who I hate is no. There's no hate here, and to be honest, what I love about Guelph in general is we I don't find anyone in competition with each other. And even if there is a silver lining to COVID at all, it has kind of brought us together in the sense that all high tide raises all ships, right? If there's anything we're in competition for or against, rather, it's we're in competition against not surviving. I'm not saying we are the best vegan restaurant. That's for sure. I'm saying our vegan food is just the best, for sure. That said, you know what? I'm going to be very equally diplomatic and give equal last place to both other dishes, just because I shouldn't pick favorites, for sure. I will reserve the right to give them both fourth place if possible. Thank you. And I'll take all the medals. In all honesty, I think that it is a healthy choice for everyone to try try being vegan and see how your body responds to it. You know, like everything in moderation, I like including moderation.
Excellent. So you started off very loving, and then you just went, wow, they're all in fourth
Well, it
place.
was like a sandwich, an open face, not good
Okay.
sandwich.
So back to the sandwich thing. Yeah. Again with the sandwich. We have I think, well, I'll ask our event organizers. We've got a little bit of time. We're looking at 7:54 here. If there are some questions in the chat. Somebody asked,
I have one for you.
What
I
are
have
the?
one for you.
Oh,
Can I pass it
not
on
you
to you?
again. Oh, okay.
Yeah, me again. I know this disembodied voice. One of the questions here was who's been cooking vegan food in Guelph the longest amongst the three of you? I thought that was an interesting question.
Well, we know the Cornerstone's been around since 2002, and there were some vegan things on it, some vegetarian things on it. I don't know beyond that.
Are we talking
We've run out of meat
about
sometimes.
individuals?
Yeah.
As individuals?
No, as restaurants.
Oh, I think Cornerstone's got it.
100%.
I would
Hands
think
down.
that, oh yeah. But Sherry Bishop has did own With the Grain since 1999.
That's true. Sherry.
So I'm not
Sherry
sure if
does,
we're.
Yeah.
Was there always vegan stuff With the Grain, or was it vegetarian, or was it?
I guess I can't say for certain in 1999, but I would believe that I know of some recipes that she definitely opened with that I believe are vegan. So
I'm sure one time they just served like salads, and so that counts, right? It was just salad.
Well,
it's very likely, yeah.
I knew Sherry when she was running the Massey Hall coffee shop on campus at the U of G, and I think there were a few, at least vegetarian.
If I may, you remember, Marty, what was here before the
Meridian.
cafe?
The Meridian.
Meridian, yeah.
So in this location, maybe the longest.
Yeah, maybe if the walls could talk, they'd say things. I think.
Yeah, Dewey's gonna lay claim to the history of Guelph.
It certainly has been, and I have to say, as part of my job too, that certainly downtown Guelph has been a place where people who were looking to eat and people looking to serve alternatives to the usual greasy spoon diners and the chains and things, we're coming to and operating businesses that at least had options on the menu for people that had different dietary needs, and we can be quite proud of the fact that these things are continuing to develop in downtown, and more places have options for people that choose to eat vegan or vegetarian, or want to be more respectful, more conscious of what they're putting in their mouth. So I think that's good.
Marty, I've got another one for you.
Yeah.
I've got another one for you. I just wanted to let you know that people are really hating the soup haters in the chat, and I think that you soup haters are going to have to wear disguises, especially you, Marty. There's some really, I mean, a couple of them, Helena and Chung Ying, are both
we were
not
being
very happy about the soup hating going on.
So there is no soup hating. This is all performative. This is people saying, soup is stupid or whatever, in order to get a rise out of the people that are pro-soup. We're having fun, folks. I mentioned there's no soup in the grocery store, ironically, because there's aisles and aisles and aisles and aisles of it. So it is just people having fun.
We're just saying that soup lost the competition. That's it.
No. The line is you don't make friends with salads, not
That's
soup.
true.
That's not the line.
But you don't make friends if you spill soup on them either. So there's
Well, I
that.
don't think you made any friends throwing the sandwich or mac and cheese at anyone either, Marty.
I don't know. I've thrown mac and cheese at lots of people that are still friends with me. At least they say.
I'd
So
We're all
rather
very
drown in
happy
mac and
about
cheese
that.
and soup.
what is this comment?
I don't know, Marty. It sounds like everybody's ganging up on you there.
I know. You know, it
You
just
know what? I changed my
It
vote.
looks really good
Marty's
on you.
getting,
I
Marty's getting
feel like
last
I'm
place.
standing
My
in
vote
front of
is Marty
city
getting-
council for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But yeah,
We thought Dewey was going to catch it all, but you're catching it instead.
yeah, it's because he slipped me $20 to take the heat. That's why. And speaking of heat, there's too much of it in your soup.
And you still have a bar tab sip of just whatever you can, Marty. Please, thanks.
That's not a tab. That's like a binder.
Well, I know where you work too.
That's true. That's why I have a tab. I don't know. I go back to the organizers. Evan, are there more questions for our presenters? Or?
Well, to be honest with you, the people in the chat are having a heck of a lot of fun. I have to admit. But maybe what we could do right now might be a good
Actually,
time is probably to run the poll. Rasha, are you able to start the poll? Oh,
We have
sorry,
one-
you've got a question.
Just hang on. Julie's got one question. Go ahead, Julie.
And it's a question to my fellow competitors, and I think it's something that maybe everyone watching would like to know. I just would like to hear from you both personally. What challenges have you had in marketing or producing vegan food versus anything else in your career or in the city? Or I just like to hear kind of some of that story, and Kim as well, if possible. Marty, I'll let you choose who goes first.
Nevada, it's just like, so how are things going at Cadence? And do you get people wandering in the door that don't know that it's a vegan restaurant and they're like,
yeah, we do. It's actually pretty funny. A lot of people, we're in a pretty decent walking location. So a lot of people do just walk in, and since we are completely vegan, we don't worry too much about the specific titles of things. Like we do just call it mac and cheese because we can just say everything's vegan, so don't worry about it. But it's been pretty good because since we are completely vegan, it's easy for us to just say like, yes, come in here. We have all different types of food. We have baked goods, we have soups, we have breakfast. And there is a lot of demand for it. People find us online. People find us through like little events like this. And we just did the replacement for Veg Fest, which was the vegan passport that Green Goddess put on. I'm not sure if anyone here was part of that, but we had a lot of new people who are just trying to get into eating a little bit less meat, come and see the variety of stuff that is in Guelph. And Guelph is a really great place to look around for things like that. Yeah, so it's been nice for us and nice to meet the community.
how about you, Sydney? Challenges, tough marketing, tough things that are going up?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Guelph is such a vegan friendly and like vegan dense community. So and of course I've only worked at the Cornerstone for the past maybe just over 3 years, and it's been around for so long, so I can't speak for the entire history of it. But it's definitely not a problem getting people in the door due to being a vegetarian and vegan restaurant. Like so many people are willing to try it, and I think like one of the pros of being vegetarian and vegan is that people can come who are vegan and bring their friends or family who aren't quite fully convinced. So it's kind of a good way to get people in. And same thing as Cadence, like a lot of people do come in not knowing that we are vegetarian, and then they leave like very surprised, like maybe pleasantly surprised, and really enjoying their meal. So that's something I've seen a lot over the past few years, and it's definitely really nice. So I can't say that there are a lot of challenges to marketing vegan food in Guelph, especially.
You have to tell you, my secret, it's not so secret, but I worked at the Cornerstone when it opened in 2002. Mark Broderick.
I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some pictures of me. I look exactly the same. Exactly the same. Haven't aged a day. And it was, I thought, a kind of a bold thing for Mark to do, to open up a vegan vegetarian restaurant in 2002 in Guelph. There's hardly any even coffee shops in downtown at the time. And very few people turned around and said, well, if you don't have bacon, I'm not coming in. And he was able to prove the naysayers wrong, because all you have to do is make great food, and people would respond to that, bacon or not.
Marty, could I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
In case people haven't seen it, that's excellent. And no, we did. I had forgotten that Marty worked there, so I know he's the referee. Hopefully he was still impartial. But I just want to let you know, if you haven't seen it, that the poll is up, and it's going for a few more seconds. So please, if you decide who the winner is it Dewey at the SIP Club? Is it Nevada, or is it Sydney Coles? And so we'll just give this, another 15 seconds, folks, for you to respond. What do you think? Rasha, do you want to end the poll and then show the results?
Sorry, I would like to hear from Kim, if possible, about the last question, about any challenges she's had.
Yeah. Sorry, thank you, Dewey.
Sure. I've been vegetarian since I was a kid. Like from going from only being able to eat like the hot buns with potato chips and ketchup.
Sorry, Kim, we're losing you. I'm afraid your connection is weak.
Computer.
Yes, sorry, your connection is very weak. I know I'm only one floor below you, but you must be on a different Wi-Fi system there. I'll hand it back to you.
I moved spots because the computer was dying. Yeah.
Do you want to try again, Kim?
Can I try again? All right. So I've watched it during my last 30 years. I've really watched the vegetarian trend. I don't know if I want to call it that, but take hold. And you can never go into a restaurant and find no vegetarian meals anymore, where once you could definitely do that. So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty balanced. Like the SIP Club is not mainly vegetarian, but you've got vegan options, and up to Cadence where they're all vegan, which is delicious too. I think, I think it's coming along, and I'm.
Oh, we're losing you again, Kim.
I think you're great, Kim.
I'll peace out.
Thank you for that, Kim. Evan?
Yes. Thank you, Marty. I'm going to hand this over to Rasha in a moment, but I have to tell you, one of the take-home lines of the night, I was looking for the zinger. What was the zinger tonight? And I know that Dewey got trounced by Nevada and Sydney tonight. I'm not disappointed, Dewey. I'm not quite sure. Rasha, remind me why we invited Dewey. I'm not quite sure.
And you know what? Nor am I. You know, happy to be nominated. That's it.
It's been a lot of fun, and I have to tell everyone that our intention was to change the channel on the discussion about vegan food. This wasn't about showing scientific fact. It was about having fun. It was about sharing our love of food. And frankly, based on the chat, it sounds like a whole bunch of people are going to do a soup fight, because it sounded like they were almost starting to exchange recipes. But I got to say, the take-home line for me was when Dewey was asked, when he said, "What makes my dish better than the others?" It's not lying. And I thought, wow, what a great marketing line. You got to put that right on your menu. Our food isn't lying like those other ones down the street. That'll just, honestly, the hordes will be rushing to your doorstep, I'm sure. Brilliant, brilliant.
I would
marketing.
never say that. I will hyperbolize a lot in my personal marketing, but never at the expense of one of my fellow businesses downtown.
I'm kidding, you know that, don't you?
Of course.
And
I don't look great in stilettos, so there.
On that note, I'm gonna just pop up the screen here, and I'm going to hand, hopefully you can see our PowerPoint again, of our three food fighters, and I'm going to hand the floor over to my colleague Rasha. Rasha, are you there?
Yeah, sure. So thank you, guys. With this, we reached to the end of this food night or food fight night. Thank you all for attending this event, and I hope you all enjoyed it. We really encourage you to consider trying one of these vegan dishes prepared by our amazing chefs. I bet it will really taste so good. Thanks to our sponsors, Downtown Guelph and Tennessee. Great thank you to our food fighters for taking part in this fight. And of course, our appreciation goes to our celebrity taste testers, MP Lloyd Longfield, MPP Mike Schreiner, and Mike Salisbury, Guelph City Councilor. And last but not least, thanks to our referee, Marty Williams from Downtown Guelph Business Association. Thanks everyone for sticking around, and have a brilliant good night. Thank you all, and see you later in our upcoming event. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.